Simple solutions, that's what we need. Because this is so large, I kept trying to get my head around it, of course, preparing to talk tonight, and trying to think of all the various elements that are involved. And I drew 3 different diagrams with homelessness and affordable housing in the center, and all these other things, connecting into them in various ways around income and immigration and students and loans, and it just went on and on. I'm really glad to hear from the community leaders who are involved in this on a day-to-day basis about what they're doing, and a lot of what they're doing is wonderful in the system and what we can do overall for all Canadians, but also directly for people in this riding who have needs, but based on some of the deficiencies in that system, and perhaps reworking the system in a way that makes a lot more sense. So, for example, the primary cause, I understand, of homelessness is poverty. And so how do we deal with poverty? Of course, it's a gigantic question. But one of the things that the Green Party is proposing is a guaranteed livable income. And the guaranteed livable income would apply to any person, whether they're a senior or it doesn't matter what the age is, in any circumstance, where there would be a set amount that would be determined to be the minimum that a Canadian would need to live a reasonable a life with dignity, have a secure place to sleep, be able to purchase food outside of a food bank, and not have to make those decisions about do I buy my medication or pay my rent or buy groceries. So the guaranteed livable income it would actually replace a lot of the things like the guaranteed income supplement that was discussed, okay? And I think I'll get into that a little bit more later, but the other piece is a pharmacare program we are proposing, and on top of that there would be a tuition release of students from the need to pay back any debts over $10,000 to start with, and then total abolition of tuition fees by the year 2020. So, we're the only party that has a national transportation strategy. There's all kinds of pieces that fit together here, and that's what I'd like to look at, is the systemic factors and some of the systemic solutions that we can find as a federal government. Thank you. Okay, I'm just green, and we're used to this. It happened last time too. I had to take advantage of that one. Poor me. It's interesting to listen to what the other candidates have to say. And I just keep thinking, show me the money, because so much of this is promises. And I don't see a national housing strategy coming from any of the other parties. In fact, a couple of nights ago on CBC's The National, they stated that the Green Party is the only party in Canada that actually has proposed a national housing strategy. The others may intend to come up with one, but if you look around on the websites and so on, it's not there. So they have good intentions, but I have to wonder about how serious they are, and how serious they are about following through on some of the promises that are being made here tonight. I also want to make sure that I was clear that I do also have a tremendous respect, and I'm quite impressed by what the community groups here are doing. But again, what I'm looking for is a simple answer to a complex question, and a way that an elegant solution that will solve a whole lot of problems at once, because that's what we need. We don't need piecemeal measures here and there. That kind of approach is not going to work. And so if you look at, again, income as one of the major factors, The Guaranteed Livable Income Plan that the Green Party is proposing actually replaces a whole multiplicity of income support programs that overlap, and they're very confusing and difficult to apply for, and there's all kinds of built-in incentives to take advantage of the system by playing one off the other. So instead, the Guaranteed Livable Income would replace federal transfers for social assistance or welfare, disability supports, the old age supplement, guaranteed income supplement, the Canadian Child Tax Benefit and the National Child Benefit Supplement, and the Working Income Tax Benefit. All of those things would be replaced by a simple decision that all Canadians need a certain amount of money to live a good life and have good shelter and the basics of survival. And so that's what the Guaranteed Livable Income is all about. Now, we also support other specific programs like the creation of a National Aging in Place program, and that can save taxpayers money by ensuring. Okay, where to start? The Green Party believes that there's tremendous potential in co-ops and co-op housing, and that the funding needs to be reestablished there because co-ops currently provide 91,000 homes across Canada, and they house over 250,000 Canadians. So that's quite significant. And they are community-owned and democratically run. Currently, the government only subsidizes less than a quarter of the individuals living in co-ops, but the federal subsidies for these low-income households are coming to an end, and they're being allowed to lapse, which means more people sleeping on the street. We need to find a solution, and the co-op housing presents us with a solution that we know works and has great potential for expansion as well. So the Green Party's national housing strategy, that is actually in writing, includes extending funding for low-income co-op residents in communities where contracts with the federal government are expiring, and dedicating funding to the cooperative housing sector to enable more new affordable housing projects to proceed. So that is one of the things that we would do in terms of a solution. And in terms of the problem that's being created in our housing market here, it has a lot to do with immigration rules that the Harper government passed, which allow applicants whose net worth is over 10 million to jump to the head of the queue and to purchase Canadian properties as investments, making homes a speculative investment instead of a place to live. They often sit empty. The person applying for immigration doesn't really intend to live here and become a productive Canadian, and yet they're displacing others. They're splitting families because the next generation has no place to go. They can't find housing next to their family. It's called the Immigrant Investor Venture Capital Pilot Program, if you want to look it up, and it must be stopped.
Thank you, Diane. Safe housing, the lack of potable water, and poverty on First Nations reserves across Canada.
Microphone, please. Thank you. The housing situation within First Nations reserves is shameful, as we all know, and it has not been addressed for so long. It's unbelievable that we've known about this for so long and nothing has been done. So the Green Party certainly would act in partnership with First Nations, look at the situations, probably starting with the places of the greatest need, and again, ensure that there is a base level income, and use the housing first principles as well. But you're talking about potable water and all those fundamentals of survival. And there's so much that goes beyond housing here. There needs to be a partnership with First Nations to solve some of these ongoing problems. Thank you. The question is, would your party or your government actually build these shelters and create more? And no, I don't think so, because the federal government may have a role in funding them, but I believe that they should be run by community groups at the local level, and I think that's much more suitable, and I think that it's wonderful what has been done here in White Rock and Surrey by, as you say, church groups and so on. But these are temporary measures. Things like insisting on a certain percentage of all new developments would include a number of units that would be for affordable housing, providing home and community support for seniors who want to remain in their own homes. Again, the Green Party policy fully supports CARP's senior housing strategy. I see it, go back there. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things that you can do. It's almost like a kid in a candy shop. You don't know where to start. And so that's why I think, again, we need to step back and look at how all the pieces fit together to come up with something that is the most effective plan we can develop and implement to put into practice to actually get people off the street in a comfortable setting in their homes and provide good, affordable, safe, clean housing to allow them every opportunity that most of us here have to live a life of dignity. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane Watts.
You know, I can't add much to what Judy has just said. I thought that was very well expressed, Judy, and I totally agreed with everything you said there. I know I'm supposed to take a different position, but I really can't. Yes, sure, certainly. Public art is and particularly in social housing projects where there might be some stigma around living there or some feeling that it's somehow less than other places to dwell. I think that public art serves a very important purpose to provide that pride in your own home. You know what it's like. You want it to be something that you really feel good about. When people drive down the Johnson Street into White Rock, they see the big whale wall there, and you just feel good about being there and being part of that. So certainly I would support it.
Diane Watts. And as you are aware, there's a large number in this riding. The population of people over 65 is increasing rapidly here and throughout Canada. What will your party do to ensure Canada is ready to respond to both the housing and the health needs of this group in our community?
Well, I think I've outlined some of that already with the guaranteed livable income. The other aspect is pharmacare. Putting in a public pharmacare program would actually, we estimate, save Canadians about $11 billion per year through the advantage of bulk buying of pharmaceuticals. And it seems like a lot, I know, but it has been worked out. And in fact, our whole platform is fully costed. You can find it online. But in terms of the seniors here and the theme of tonight, which is housing, again, we're looking at allowing someone to stay in their home if they wish to do that, and to provide all the supports that they need in order to do that, to provide alternatives for staying in their home, proper transitions. Thank you. I get to start and finish. There's no doubt that our federal government needs to get back into the business of investing in social housing, certainly. And that we have to stop offloading that to the municipalities who are cash-strapped and really should be supported on a provincial and a national level. No question about that in my mind. But I still think that we need to look deeper, look below the surface and say, what's really going on here? Why are food banks still so necessary in our society? When they were started 30 years ago, everybody thought they would be a temporary measure until we got things back to normal again. Well, we've never returned to that normal. There are now over 4,000 food banks in Canada, used by over 750,000 people. And that number increased 25% since 2008. I don't call that progress. The jobs that we've seen created have typically not been good ones, steady ones, well-paying professional jobs. But the way we track information, the government can boast that they have created jobs. Well, that's fine, but how many people do you know who are having trouble finding a good, steady, well-paying job and holding on to it? I'm talking about younger people particularly. Of course, we had a lot more opportunities when we were younger. So there is this serious disconnect between the unprecedented wealth that our Canadian economy has produced for a few and the increasing economic security of the vast majority of Canadians. From 1999 to 2012, the gap between the wealthiest 20% and the poorest 20% of Canadians increased by 85%. So we have to take decisive action at that systemic level. I keep talking about, I sound like a broken record, but unless we can do something at that level as a federal government, we will continue to have to deal with the symptoms. We will continue to have to deal with the problems instead of preventing those things from occurring before they start. We need to look at setting up something that will last not just for this generation, but for future generations, that will have long-term implications, not just for people's lives, but also our finances, the environment, all those other things. We have to look at the whole thing in totality. And if we try to fix one problem at a time, it will continue to go on the same way it's going on, and we will wonder why it's not getting better. So I encourage you to try to step back and look at that big picture and look for those master solutions that can solve multiple problems with simple strategies. Thank you.
Thank you.